Jane Goodall. She passed away October 1st, 2025. She was 91 years old, still on a speaking tour, and still urging audiences to act for animals and the earth. Her life is remembered through milestones. Gombe, the chimpanzees, the discoveries. But the lesser-told stories, they teach us more about her as a person, her character, her doubts, and her legacy, which, believe it or not, is still unfolding. She was born Valerie Jane Morris Goodall, April 3rd, 1934 in London. Her father, Mortimer, he left early. Her mother, Van, a writer, raised her with help from relatives. The house was full of women, and Jane filled it further with beetles, snakes, snails, mice, birds. She read Tarzan, Dr. Dolittle, and Darwin. And when she asked for a chimpanzee as a gift, her mother told her, start small, maybe a dog first. And that dog became her closest companion. And she later said dogs remained her favorite species her entire life. In 1957, she traveled to Kenya and met Louis Leakey. He recognized her curiosity right away and sent her, in 1960, to Gombe. It's a stream in Tanganyika. That's now today Tanzania. Without a university degree, she broke scientific rules. She gave chimps names: David Graybeard, Flo, Fifi, all when others used numbers. And she saw what no one had before: a chimp using a twig to fish termites. You see, up until then, tools defined humanity. Leakey said, we must redefine tool, redefine man, or accept chimps as human. She later documented hunting behavior. Colobus monkeys killed, meat divided and shared. The discoveries forced science to reconsider what it meant to be human. Life at Gombe was harsh. Malaria, snakes, torrential rain, long nights, alone in mosquito nets. Writing notes by lamplight, and not all events were triumphs either. In 1969, a young volunteer vanished after following a chimp. Her body was found days later. The tragedy, it cast a long shadow over the entire camp, and Jane herself lived with prosopagnosia, face blindness, a condition that made human interactions much more difficult. Her personal life, quite interesting actually. She married wildlife filmmaker Hugo van Loek. That was back in 1964. And a decade later, they did get divorced. And then she married Tanzanian politician Derek Bryson. And then later, he passed away of cancer in 1980. Loss and resilience continued to shape her as much as discovery. Criticism also followed. Some scientists dismissed her early work as anecdotal or too emotional. But you see, she persisted. She kept publishing rigorous studies, working with collaborators, and slowly shifting the standards of her entire field. Out of one conversation in 1991 with Tanzanian teenagers outside of her home, wound up growing roots and shoots. It was a program, and that program is now active in more than 100 countries. By the late 1970s, she founded the Jane Goodall Institute. In 1992, she opened Chimpunga, a sanctuary in the Republic of Congo, rescuing orphan chimps from the brushmeat trade. And in 2002, she became a UN messenger of peace. She spent as many as 300 days a year traveling, urging audiences to act. And her honors, they were many. Among them were the Templeton Prize, the Kyoto Prize, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom, awarded just weeks before her passing. As she often said, her proudest achievement was not an award, but the spark of action in young people. On the night of September 30th, 2025, she was still editing her notes. By morning, she was gone. Tributes poured in worldwide. Her longtime aide, Mary Lewis, said, "Everyone says we're at the end of an era, but the era isn't going to end." Jane Goodall, she changed science. She changed it by showing that chimpanzees, they're not numbers on a chart, but they were individuals with minds and feelings. And she expanded that lesson into sanctuaries, into classrooms, into global conservation work. And her impact is measured in every forest that she preserved, every animal rescued, and every young person who believes that their actions matter. These are Interesting Things with JC.